Well, welcome everybody to Daily Origins Lifestyle Interview Series, a series we're calling Origin Stories. In this time, we speak with business owners, trainers, community leaders about their origin stories and really get into like where they're from, how they became successful, their ups and downs throughout their journey. I'm your host, Genevieve Kavanaugh, and today we have Danielle Gertner. Welcome, Danielle.
Thank you so much, Genevieve. So happy to see you. So happy to be here.
Oh, I am so pleased to have you. I've been wanting to chat with you for a while. If you don't mind, tell us a little bit about what you do and what your origin story is.
Absolutely. Oh, Genevieve, you met me at a different time in my life and my origin story. What's up, everybody? My name is Danielle Gertner. I am an ownership coach. I'll tell you like my professional bio, and then I'll tell you more of the juicy stuff about who I am as a human. But I'm an ownership coach, and I work with people and teach people how to own their shit. Plain and simple, how to take radical responsibility over their lives, how to not be a victim of the past, and how to use the past, use who they've been, where they've been, why they've been as stepping stones into whoever they want to be as their fullest, highest versions of themselves. And that means a lot of different things. I wear a lot of different hats, and I love every single one of them. I run an Own Your Shit self-mastery program online. I do a lot of my work online. I've gotten to meet incredible women and people all over the world through that. I am a fitness coach, a movement coach, more accurately, because I love all different types of movement. And I teach that a lot here in Austin, Texas. Um, and a little bit more about me and who I am. And then I'll go into kind of how I started and how I got here. But I am a tiny home lover. I live in a tiny home in Austin, Texas. I moved here about a year and a half ago from Gainesville, Florida, where I went to school. I'm a Gator, go Gators. And I'm originally from South Florida. And, fun things about me, I'm usually always barefoot. I'm a huge barefoot advocate and lover. I work out barefoot, and I really believe in connecting to our feet and to Pachamama and just, yeah, I love feet in a nutshell. In a nutshell. You can find me when I'm not teaching or coaching. You can find me at the farmer's market. You could find me by the water, anywhere I can be outside. I'll say usually half naked, just really in flow and probably dancing. So that's a little bit about me. I have a beautiful younger sister who's my best friend. I had an incredible older brother who recently passed away. And I have a great family, and I'm very honored and excited. I'm also a cat mom. She's sitting right in front of me right now, though you guys can't see her. Her name's Nala. But my origin story, well, I think you all know where this really, really begins when a mom and dad love each other a lot. My origin story, I guess I'd start back when I was at the University of Florida. And I start there because I always kind of had this vision that I was going to work. I never imagined I was going to be an entrepreneur. I always imagined I was going to work for some corporate company and I was going to climb my way to the top and I was going to run shit. And that was very much what the path I was on when I was in school. I went to UF to study business and kind of jumped on that traditional conveyor belt. Taking the right classes, getting involved in the right organizations, shaking the hands, getting the internships. And I ended up, this is a little bit kind of off track, or what started to switch the track was I started a boot camp called Gator Grind when I was at UF. I really wanted to teach group fitness. I had gotten into the gym and found the gym when I was in college because I was an athlete my whole life. And the gym really is the first place I took ownership over my life and my world. And I fell in love with it. And I said, how the heck do I do this for the rest of my life? And by the time I was a senior, I turned down 2 full-time job offers, all the financial security. My parents thought I was a little crazy. And I started teaching boot camps all around the city of Gainesville with sororities, with businesses, with eventually college. I became a strength and conditioning coach. And little by little, this fitness journey evolved and blossomed into this self-mastery journey, learning and understanding over time that fitness, physical movement and connection to my body was just one piece of the puzzle. And until I really understood who I was and why I was the way I was never going to be able to take full ownership over my life. And so Anyway, I'm going to wrap this up. This is a long answer to your question, but I started doing a lot of work, deeper work on myself and understanding these things, where my beliefs came from, where my identities came from. Do I still believe in that thing? Do I still want to identify as that thing? And here I am today, helping other people do the same. And it's the best job in the world.
All of that's pretty amazing. You touched on a few things that I'm like mental note there. First of all, when you said barefoot, I met you at a totally different time where I was in gyms wearing sneakers a lot, and I haven't, because of the pandemic, I've chose to do at-home workouts, and it's more so because I just love being in my own home, in my backyard, and connecting my feet to the ground. I feel weird wearing sneakers when I work out. It's like they don't belong anymore.
Yes.
So that's something interesting that I remember taking classes with you and you having us connect. And also just something I've admired about you from taking class with you is that you just motivate in a totally different way. And it's not just the basic, you're moving and your lines and you get, good music. Like, everybody who wants to be a fitness coach can find those ways to do it, but you actually dig down deep into every single person there and connect with them. And I know what you mean by saying owning your shit, because you make us in class really recognize what that is and get us to achieve, even if it's the smallest goal, just finishing class. So hats off to you. I really do admire a lot of your work. And you did touch base a little bit about why you got into it, but tell us a little bit about where it stemmed from and inside of you.
Yeah. Well, first of all, thank you for that beautiful compliment. That made me feel really good, because that is my sole mission whether I'm teaching a class or talking to a friend, is really reminding them of their power. And that, to me, is what owning your shit means, is choosing to remember your power. It really starts with a choice. And so where did that start within me? Well, it started with my own fitness journey. As I mentioned briefly earlier, I, played sports my whole life. And when I got to college, I found the gym for the first time. High school weightlifting class was a little BS, but when I got to college, I needed an outlet. I wasn't playing sports anymore, and I wanted an outlet to move my body. And I also was and I didn't realize this until college. I was very, I wouldn't say obsessed at first, but very reliant on my body for validation and for, feel goods, if you will. And throughout college, I recognized, well, man, I want to build more confidence, and I already get some looks and some attention through my body. So let me build it even more. Let me build an even bigger butt and a flat stomach and strong arms. And um, that became a lot of my focus and mission for going to the gym, which I don't think is a bad thing. It brought me, it was really fun. I really enjoyed it. And it did send me down this spiral of really looking to others for validation and people pleasing, and do people like me, and do people see me? And I never once asked the question, do I like myself? Do I see myself? And after kind of getting really the body of my dreams, quote unquote, the butt, as I mentioned, and the abs and the arms, and realized that the level of confidence I was truly desiring, the level of connection with myself that I was truly desiring, didn't come with it, is really when the shift started to happen. I was in a long relationship, almost 7 years, with my partner, Derek, who is an incredible human. And if you follow me on social or see me, you'll see him, because we're still best friends and still very close and in each other's lives. But I was, was nasty to him. I was using him as a, just projecting all of my own shit onto this person who really loved me and was a mirror for me, because he was so patient through all of that. And so I recognized that I had two choices. I could either stay living the way I was living and continue looking to other people for the validation and the feel goods, and be miserable and not really have a connection with myself. And I carried a lot of anger for many reasons. Or I could do something about it. I could use this. I could learn from this. I could get curious about this. And so I chose curiosity. And the more I chose curiosity, the more things opened for me. And I learned so many incredible things about myself that really freed me. I feel it's so funny saying it. I feel kind of corny saying it. I feel so free. I do. I feel so free in who I am now. And I definitely didn't have that before. So that's really where it started, was just kind of being tired of not being able to look at myself in the mirror and not hold my own gaze and being like, okay, I don't want to live like this anymore. And I know that somewhere in me, I have the power to change that.
Yeah, that's a really tough feeling, and it's really deep. And I'm so glad you're sharing that. Since you coach other people through those steps themselves, like you coach them, who is helping you? Where do you seek your inspiration, and how do you really find like your own ownership?
That's such a good question. That's a great question. I will say right now, my heart is so open to specifically new mentorship. I have been looking for kind of a spiritual coach for a while, not a therapist. I've done that. I got a business coach, but a spiritual coach and guide. So just putting that out there. But a lot of where I get my inspiration from, and it's so beautiful that you asked and not ironic at all, because one of my last journal entries, I was flipping through my journal entries a couple of days ago, was holy shit, all my friends are my mentors and role models. That was one of the opening lines of my journal entries, and that wasn't always the case. I didn't always have friends that were my role models and that were my mentors and that really were. Um, I believe every most things are a mirror, and that most people are a mirror. But those mirrors aren't always good mirrors when you're, or beautiful mirrors and helpful mirrors, if you're not attracting those types of people. And for the first time in my life, the mirrors around me are really beautiful mirrors. They are mirrors of what is available to me when I lead with love and I trust in the universe and I trust in abundance. And so I know this sounds kind of corny, but um, so many of my friends are my inspiration. So much of the work that I do is my inspiration. Um, and I think I unintentionally created it to be that way. I unintentionally, and maybe intentionally, I think at a soul level, my soul was like, yeah, we're
Yeah.
going to create that for you. Um, that I surrounded myself with people that it's not always easy. It doesn't mean everything's rainbows and butterflies and that I'm always getting along with all of my friends and that everything in life is going beautifully. But I think the lens, I have people around me who have helped me hold myself accountable to switching my lens on the world and the way I
Okay.
see people around me.
That's amazing. And I recently read a post of yours saying that something along the lines of your friendships that weren't meant to be, and acknowledging that and moving on. Or how are you dealing with like the friendships that just kind of spin out, and what makes you realize that it's time to part ways from that?
That's a beautiful question. I'll tell you completely honestly, it doesn't always happen well. All right. I'm a
Yeah.
human. It's not always easy and clean cut, like, oh yes, this person is no longer a good fit. Goodbye. Right. It doesn't work like that.
They didn't get a
Uh
letter from HR.
yeah, my HR department, we're still building the team, we're getting there. But I'm a human, and like most humans, I'm most humans I know, I'm emotional, and um it's which is a beautiful thing. And the way I'll tell this is in the metaphor, the feather, the brick, and the martyr truck. I don't know if you've ever heard this before, and I don't remember who told this to me, but the feather is the universe's way of sending you gentle signs, right? It tickles you with the feather. And I think oftentimes there have been friends in my life where I've gotten that tickle, that inclination of like, okay, this doesn't feel great to be in this friendship. And sometimes I listen to that tickle. I think I listen to it better now than I did in the past. But if we don't listen to the tickle, then the universe is like, all right, girl, you need a louder message. Got it. They throw the universe starts throwing the bricks. And so something bigger might happen. They might, you know, do something that doesn't make you feel good. Yeah, but we'll just say that it's just a bigger instance. It was a tickle at first, and then they something happens where you're like, oof, okay, it's a little bit more clear now. And sometimes I still don't listen, and then comes the Mac truck. I'm sorry, not the martyr truck, the Mac truck. I do that every time I tell the story. It's the Mack truck. What the heck's the martyr truck? I don't even know.
I don't know. I
I
thought it was
know.
something I haven't heard of before.
You're sitting there like, what the heck's this girl talking about? Guys, it's a Mack truck. Anyway, so then if you don't listen to the brick, the universe sends the Mack truck, which is like the big kahuna, right? It's the thing that's like, well, shit, now we have to stop being friends because it's that big of a thing that just happened. And so why I answered in that way is because as a human, sometimes it takes me all the way until Mack truck level to get the point.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's times where I just feel it. I think right now in my life, I'm much more in tune with my body, and I listen to my body and how she feels around certain people. And this is just an invitation for anybody listening: is tune into your, like, be very present with your body when you're with somebody or with a group of people, and kind of notice what's present for you in that moment versus what's maybe a story you've been telling yourself in your head of, well, I've known this person forever, so we have to stay friends. Sometimes that's the case and can be worked through, and other times it's just a story. And so, anyway, this is getting into another long answer. You told me 30 minutes. I'm not good at this, like shortening my
That's so.
answers. um, but I think my trust in the universe, hence, and because of that, the trust in myself is getting stronger over time, and that is that is what has allowed me to come to peace with friendships cycling in and out, and really
Mm-hmm.
understanding, like, even feminine energy, the life and death cycles that are just really natural to life force energy and the cycle of life and the universe. And so it doesn't always happen the way I want it to. And then it's an invitation for me to check my expectations and loosen my grip a little bit on the person or the situation. But, and then a challenge to just come back to trust and come back to love, that the universe has a plan, and that for some reason or another, whether I can see it right now or not, this person taught me something. And in order for me to continue learning and continue growing and continue expanding, I have to let them go. I have to clear room for something else to come. It's not always easy. It sounds beautiful when you say it, but putting into
Yeah.
practice is hard as hell.
Oh, I was gonna say there's been plenty of times I think a lot of people can associate with this, but like you're a masochist, like you keep going back to that same friend and kind of having the same outcome, and you're like, why am I even trying? And I
Yeah,
think what you said is really like sitting down and noticing how you feel when you're around that person. And I think that can, be both friends and family. Is
yeah,
am I hanging out with them? Am I spending time with them just because I need to check a box and I was friends with them for so long? Like that is really speaking loudly, I think. And it's not something a lot of people even give themselves permission to try. Like,
mm,
I think I've had this conversation before where it's, a lot of people think that they have to do stuff because it's what they've been taught or what society thinks. And, I'll use the example of like your mom's friend's son just graduated from high school and you have to go to that graduation party. Do
and
you
you're
have
like,
to
what?
go? Or are
Got to
you going to
talk to the kid
actually,
once.
yeah, it just, I know I'm going down more of a different path, but I think that is just really about owning your own answers and like your own life in general, is just
Absolutely.
having the power to know what you want to do and what you don't want to do, and not feeling guilty for doing something someone else wants you to do too.
Absolutely, absolutely. And it's not, I don't think it's going down a different path at all, because it ties a lot into people pleasing. And it was, I didn't realize it at the time. I didn't have the language for it at the time, but I was an extreme people pleaser. I was a yes woman. Anything that somebody needed or wanted me to do, or if I thought it would, I'd show face a lot. And it ties back to people pleasing. I know a lot of my clients' family is a big piece of the work we do in the Own Your Ship program, because I mean, think about how many of our deeply rooted beliefs and fears and insecurities and identities, and also all the beautiful things too, are tied to our family. And so,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, absolutely, knowing what's true for you in the moment, regardless of what you were taught or told, it's owning your shit. That's where we start, taking the
Yeah.
power back. Hmm.
Oh yeah, and you just brought up something that like triggered two memories. I have two younger girlfriends. They're very smart and passionate, and I admire them a lot. And both of them held me accountable at one point because I was people pleasing. I was saying yes, I'll be there to one, and I remember getting a message like, if you're not going to be there, just tell me that you're not. And another girlfriend who was just like, you don't show up to anything that you're going to show up to. And I was like, wow, that was, I mean, I'd have to say it's about 5 years ago now, which I still can remember, and it burned so hard to hear, but I am so thankful. They were at least 5, 6 years younger than I am. And to have someone like that be so honest with me made me really realize that like I need to stop overcommitting to things that I don't want to do, and
Yeah.
saying yes just to make sure that I think they're going to be happy because I say yes. And then in the long run, they're not even happy because I am not showing up. So
Yeah,
it's
absolutely.
really such a recognition of like really who you are.
They were beautiful
So
mirrors of you.
yeah. Well, I love that you're sharing all of this too. And I'll dive into a little more of operational side of things. It might be a snooze fest for some, but I love to hear
Yeah.
like what kind of programs are you offering right now, and what how do you work with people on a daily basis?
Yeah, no, not a snooze fest. This is the essence of my being. This is how I turn the essence of me into a really like a gift I could share with the world. So I really appreciate you asking because I love talking about it. My main focus, where my heart is really in these own your shit self mastery programs. And that's always evolving and kind of branching off into different, I have a radical confidence blueprint course that I created 2 years ago that I launched from here to there. But the way I work with people day to day is I say that it's all helping people own their shit. Whether that's, like this morning, you would have caught me teaching my 7 a.m. Girls Who Grind boot camp class, which is a small, intimate Monday, Wednesday, Friday class where we build strength and confidence using weights, and that's teaching them to own their shit. Um, and then transitioning to what I do online, but the majority is the own your shit self mastery program. I launch it once a year. This is a new thing which I'm very excited about. I launch it once a year, so it's a very intimate group. It's 6 months long, and we go deep into the journey of self, and really, as I briefly mentioned to you, just understanding who you are and why you are, and how you can use that to your benefit and just use it to understand your world, instead of, a lot of times we judge ourselves. We're like, shit, I did that thing again, or there I go again, and what's wrong with me? Why do I keep repeating this cycle? Instead of, why do I keep repeating this cycle? What pleasure or satisfaction am I getting out of this thing? And as I mentioned to you, I wear a lot of hats. So the ownership coach is one hat. I wear, the fitness coach hat for sure. And I'm also a wellness fairy, which sounds really funny. It's one of my favorite things. And Sarah Gaines as well. My best friend Sarah Gaines and I lead a big portion of the wellness activities and activations at the Elements Music Festival. And we're looking to really expand that into other containers, other music festivals, other just events as a whole. And so I hope that answered your question. How do I work with people day to day? Did that answer your question?
Oh, it absolutely did. And I have so if you have people who are kind of, I know it's not your job to really convince people who are against thinking ownership coaches and any of that will really help them, or even therapy will help them. But what would you say to somebody who might be like against it, but needs that support and like other people can see it inside?
People who are against it, there's a reason they're against it. There's a fear. There is a fear of failure, a fear of success. I think there is maybe a conditioning from um, other people. And so I guess I would say just to be open to questioning your own belief. Why are
Yeah.
you against it? What is the story that you have around, what this could look like? I think a lot of times people have an idea of what they think therapy is or what they think coaching is. And some of your theories might be right, but you sure as hell haven't met me. And that's what I tell people is like, you haven't seen this girl get down. Um, and it's okay. None of it's bad if you're against it and that's a defense mechanism and that's protecting you and keeping you safe. I honor that worldview and I honor that we have different worldviews. And my invitation would just be open up your worldview. It doesn't mean you have to change your mind, but open up your worldview and try to see it from a different perspective and see if that changes or shifts anything. And if it doesn't, cool, it doesn't. And maybe it's not meant for you. And if it
Yeah.
does, awesome. Then I'll see you on the other side.
Oh, that's perfect. I think a lot of people can have that notion of not believing in that kind of stuff. And like you said, it's just more so that fear that's inside of them and being open to it. I loved your answer. I love being, honoring other people's ideas of how they want to live their life. So if you came across someone, and I'm sure there are some people who are watching this that would want to get into this kind of business, what would you share with someone who's just getting started?
In coaching as a whole, a couple different things. Just all the advice I shared with everybody else applies to us as coaches probably more than anything. And so I would say you have to do the work. There are way too many coaches out there who are really great at the social media and the website and the everything looks really good, but you learn very quickly like you're not really doing this work because this business is you feel and I'm better at feeling it now as a coach and as somebody who's done a lot of work and will continue to for the rest of my life, but you feel the energetic misalignment. So don't be that person. Align your energy, and the only way to align your energy is by making the commitment that not very many people make. A lot of people like to say they've made the commitment but do not genuinely make the commitment to own their shit, or however you want to call it, to show up for themselves, to do the work every single day. Because guess what? It's a lifelong journey. That's the first thing. The second thing that I would share with somebody who is just getting started is um, check your environment. How is your environment supporting the coach that you want to become? And your environment includes the people you surround yourself with, the music you're listening to, the things you watch and read, and your physical environment. Are you in a space of good energy? And then the last thing that I'll share is just try shit. I spent a long time thinking that I needed the certifications and the perfect website and the business card and the this, and this. And I wasted a lot of time I could have spent experimenting. Your best experience, your best growth, your best time spent, your best investment of your time is experience. So go try stuff. If you have an idea, ask a friend if you could take them through your coaching method and see what their response is. Don't be afraid to try it. You're going to fail, but you're going to fail fast and you're going to fail forward. And that's great.
Yeah. No, all of that definitely applies to, I think, any type of business, and especially number three. And if you've watched or listened to any of our other interviews with entrepreneurs, they've all said something similar. Like, you're either going to rip off the Band-Aid and try it and fail and just know that that's just not the route that you can take, or you're going to try it and be successful. And it's really about trusting that intuition too. So I think that's really great advice.
Keeping those curiosity goggles on, right? That we talked about, instead of failing and kicking yourself and judging yourself or slamming your face on the floor, pick yourself up and be like, what didn't work about that? What wasn't right about that? Where did I not feel aligned? Or who was a part of that maybe wasn't aligned? Keep those curiosity goggles. I literally have my clients take out glasses. They have to pick a pair of glasses in the program, and those are their curiosity glasses. And anytime they feel themselves judging, they pull them out and they, they dust them off and they put them on.
Oh, that reminds me of Big Daddy, the movie,
yes.
where he put on his invisible glasses.
Yes. Yep.
That's really cute. I think that's really helpful. And if you were to think back to the kid fresh out of college, turned down 2 full-time gigs, what do you tell that kid, and how do you prepare them to set themselves up successfully financially?
Is that me personally or people in general?
I'd say more so you personally. How do you set yourself up for that next step in life?
I think one of the biggest things is get really clear on what my heart sounds like versus my ego, because I have a very powerful ego, and I love her a lot, and she serves a very beautiful purpose. And I don't want her in the driver's seat. And oftentimes, historically, she has been in the driver's seat, my ego, done things, again, for the looks, the likes, the fame, instead of what was really pulling at my heart. And so that would be the first thing. The second thing, because that also transfers to finances, I really do believe when you open the flow of energy to your heart, you open your bank account to the flow of money. And anytime my money flow seems tight or constricted, one of the first things I do is I'm like, all right, where's my heart at? And I
Mm-hmm.
kid you not, if my bank account is tight and I'm feeling tense about money, my heart is tight and something's not aligned and I'm living in ego and I'm living in fear. Um, I think other things to prepare me. Well, speaking of money, is like look at my finances. I was such an avoider. I'm like, I don't no, I'm good. Like the card went through. I don't need to look at my finances. I love this quote. I think I hated it when I first heard it, but I really do. I live by this a lot now. And, I say this to my team a lot. What gets measured gets managed. And so I never looked at my finances because I grew up with parents that finances, money was always a, a a center of argument, of tension, of issues in the family. And so when I would go to sit with my finances, what would I feel inside? Well, tension and anxiety and just like my whole nervous system was like, hell no. And so I really had to rebuild that relationship. And so um that hmm, me I'll give one more thing. What would I tell my college self about being successful? Um, release my grip. Release my grip. Allow what wants to happen. I'm a big doer and initiator, and I'm like, okay, I have a plan, and it's gonna go exactly as planned. And nothing goes exactly as planned. Like, what the hell do we know about the universe's
Yeah.
plan? We don't know shit about the universe's plan. We're just participants in it. So be a participant. Breathe. If something doesn't work out the way it's supposed to or the way you thought it was going to, it happened for a reason. And although it still hurts, trust it, breathe, let it go, open yourself to what's coming next because more is coming.
Oh, wow. I think do we have another 3 hours? Because I need a lot of time. I need
We
to
could
sit
talk
down,
for
have a
another three
nice,
hours.
yeah, I need to sit down, have a nice long conversation with you because I think, the tightness of the heart and when things are tight, you can just, I don't know, I don't even know how to explain how that just hit me so well. So
Oh,
I
God.
appreciate it.
I'm so glad.
Yeah. So getting back into the swing of things, I gotta get myself collected here because I was like so into what you were saying.
I
Uh,
appreciate that.
how do you manage your schedule with everything that you're doing right now? And I know to give the audience just a little like glimpse, Danielle was just traveling, and then you were in Costa Rica, correct?
Hmm.
For like a couple weeks too. So you're all over the place and you have a lot going on. How do you manage your schedule without feeling overwhelmed?
I can't say I do it without always feeling overwhelmed. Overwhelm is a choice. I recognize that. And the moments I feel overwhelmed, there's two things I say to myself that have really helped not feeling overwhelmed. And then I'll tell you how I actually manage the physical schedule is one, the reminder that this gets to be fun. It's literally a mantra that is written and it's by my bed. This gets to be fun. I get to choose that it's fun. I started a business not to be overwhelmed, not to be stressed, not to not be able to move deadlines. Like that's it's so funny because my head of communications reminds me of this and reminded me of it a couple weeks ago when we were launching a project and we were really busting ass to get it done in time. And we were making some mistakes and it just didn't feel aligned. It didn't feel like it was going to be our best work. And she was like, yo, why don't we just push the launch date, push it a week, let's push it a couple weeks. And I'm like, oh yeah, we can do that.
We
So
can do that.
yep, this gets to be fun. And the other kind of mantra and just reminder is What type of life do I want to live? You know, do I like what type of life do I want to live? And I ask myself that question a lot because again, it is easy for me to get caught up in my ego of like, I want to teach every fitness class and I want everybody in the world to know that I'm a fitness boss bitch. And the reality is like, yeah, my ego wants that. It's a nice stroke, a nice boost, but my heart doesn't want that. I don't want to be teaching fitness 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And I use that example because it's just something that comes up for me a lot is this battle between ownership coach and fitness influencer. And I like feel like there's these two angels on my shoulder, like pulling my, they're pulling me back and forth. And I'm like, what type of life do I really want to live? But how I really manage my schedule, like logistically, for those of you that are a little bit like, no, do you use a calendar? And um, I used to be super old school and I had a written calendar. I've since then done away with that and I use Google Calendar a lot. I also have a really cool Excel sheet layout. It might be a little psychotic to some. It works for me. I'm very type A. I like things written down and organized. And so basically it's, the columns on it are day of the week, task. So I have my business separated into CEO, Danielle, which is like personal shit, like go get cat food, finances, sales and marketing, and maybe there's one more. I don't remember. So I actually do a little drop down of like, which hat am I going to be wearing when I'm doing this task? And what I try to do is bundle like CEO tasks, like writing agendas for my meetings with my team, filming videos for my own your shit students and clients. Those are CEO tasks. And so I try to bundle those together. It's the reason I only take my client calls on Tuesday, Thursday afternoons. I don't do it any other time during the week because then I know this is the hat I need to be in and I don't have to keep switching hats. Because I used to do that a lot. I'd have a client call and then I'd work on a graphic and then I'd teach a boot camp and then I'd have another client call. And I was like, man, my energy is like, whoa, all over the place. And then this has been one of the most powerful things. I'm not always great at sticking with it, but I try, is I actually give myself an allotted time limit that I have to work on that task. So I'm going to just look at this to give you an example of what was on my schedule today. Meeting agendas, review how to do the work, which is a book that I'm using in my program, and delete trainer eyes. Right. And so I'll look at that. And I'm like, okay, how long do I think realistically that'll take me? Or how long do I want to give that, that bundle of work? And so I looked at those three things and I'm like, all right, that'll take me no more than 45 minutes. And if I don't get it done in 45 minutes, then I need to move on to the next task because 45 minutes is a long time to spend in that one bucket. And then there's more to the task sheet, but that's how my day-to-day tasks, if you really wanted to get that specific, I'm sorry if you didn't care about all that, but that's how I manage it day to day.
Yeah, no, I definitely care. And I think everything you shared is extremely helpful. And I like how you definitely put the titles to each section that you're working on per day. I see that in my daily life too, is like you can bounce from task to task, from making a graphic to, for me, editing a video or talking to people on the phone. So really having that outline there for you keeps you structured and organized and more successful for every day without feeling that, overwhelmed is going to happen once in a while, but if you can keep it at bay, then that's extremely helpful.
Yeah, remember that it's a choice. I think the other thing too, I think this is, what's the name of the Eisenhower Matrix? This is something I don't use this, but I've heard of it and I kind of filter it through it in my brain, but it's basically X and Y axis. And, it's split up into urgent, non-urgent, important and unimportant. And basically you put your tasks in these different boxes. And so let's say if it's urgent and important, you should probably do it right away. If it's not urgent and unimportant, I think he tells you like trash it or delegate it. I don't know. You'd have to look it up. Eisenhower Matrix. But if I feel overwhelmed by my schedule, which I do a lot of times, I wake up in the morning, I'm like, shit, there's a big list here. I oversee a lot of clients. I have a team of 3. There's a lot of stuff I'm working on in my personal life. And I simply ask myself, what are the things on here that would not make or break me if they move to next week? or
Hmm.
I delegated them to somebody else, or I took them off my list completely. Do I really need to make that extra graphic? Do I really need to write the 15th sales email, because sometimes I
Yeah.
overdo it. And again, I think all of this comes back to just the power of choice. We have the
Right.
power to choose how busy we are, how overwhelmed we are, how stressed we are. Nobody chooses that for us. We think they do. We're like, oh, yeah, my boss, he's killing me with all this work. Well, set a boundary with your boss then. Maybe a boundary needs to be set so that they're not giving you so much work. So, anyway,
All that's
that was a lot.
extremely helpful. No, it's extremely helpful. I think making sure that people understand that you're not just taking on all this extra work just to say that you're busy, and understanding that like you do have that choice of putting, you know, what's important over what's unimportant even on the list. Are you scheduling your personal time and things that you need to work on within your calendar too, or is that just kind of known that you'll have that there every day?
I used to. I used to have to because I did not have that balance. I chose not to have that balance. I was way on the other side, especially, I remember this template, this, daily Excel sheet. And if anybody wants to see this, you're more than welcome to email me. I'm happy to share this. But my former business coach sent this to me. And we started this back in, I want to say January of this year. And when she first sent it to me, I became obsessed with it. Like every single thing was in there. My lunch was in there, my playtime, my poop time, like everything. Not my poop time, but just being dramatic, but everything was in there. And it became really overwhelming because now I'm living by the clock.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh my God, it's 12:02 and I was supposed to start X at 12 o'clock. Like I failed. My day's over. And again, this is okay, good awareness of self. Like I'm recognizing this. I don't like how I feel with the schedule like this. So I became a lot more relaxed. I do think that at this point in my life, knowing when I need to take a rest is just ingrained in me at this point. It's become a habit because I've practiced so much. That, even if I have a lot on my list, like after our call today, I didn't get good sleep last night. And I know I have a shit ton of work to do. I have to film some videos for this week in my program, but I'm going to choose to take an hour-long nap so I can refresh. I can give myself
Hmm.
the rest because my body has been asking for it since my alarm went off at 5:30 this morning. Um,
Good.
and I'm going to give myself that. And then I'm going to work a little couple hours tonight. And so, again, remembering that we have the choice. So it's not scheduled in my calendar. It just now happens, but it was scheduled in my calendar. And if you are somebody that needs to schedule it, don't judge yourself, schedule it. If it's not
Yeah.
getting done, if you're like one thing I'm not great at, which I am getting better at, language is very powerful, I'm working on, is pausing to really enjoy my meals, to really like not be on my phone, not be on my computer, not be finishing an email while I am eating,
Yeah.
because that is a moment of that's such a sacred practice. Eating food should be sacred.
Oh,
And I don't like,
absolutely.
yeah. And I rush through it a lot of the times. I barely like, I have a girl who cooks for me. I'm very lucky. Her name's Taryn. She's amazing. And I chose to hire a chef so that I could spend time doing other things, although I love to cook. So I'm making it even easier for myself. So the least I can do is give myself at least 30 minutes to sit with my food, let the food digest in my body, let me actually taste the food. So anyway, we're giving you all the details of my life, but
No,
um,
I think that's a really great point because I think up until the pandemic, for myself at least, that eating pattern was the same. I had my breakfast on the road, I had lunch in between meetings or while on a meeting, or you just find your way to like shove food down your throat during a
yeah,
busy day, and then by the time I got home it was late, and one of us at home was either busy or we very little got to sit down. It wasn't until the pandemic where we got to sit down and really no distractions, just get to eat and connect and enjoy ourselves. And I find that to
absolutely.
be such a game changer, and
Hmm.
nothing that's never going to change from here on out. It might happen every once in a while, but that's going to be a top priority moving forward.
Yeah, absolutely. Think about it this way. And I just really thought about this, and maybe I had been thinking about it subconsciously, but when we rush through a meal, we're telling our subconscious, I'm not worth nourishing. I'm not worth
Hmm.
slowing down to nourish. When we skip meals because we're so busy, I am not worth slowing down to nourish. And there's a person I'm going to say this to later tonight. And so, like, what are the messages we're really sending ourselves? And that's going to be a great reminder for me the next time I try to grab my meal and run out the door. And it's okay if you have to take food on the go, but can you just, even if you gave yourself 15 minutes, can you just be with your
Right.
food for 15 minutes? Look at what you're eating, smell what you're eating, taste on your tongue the actual flavors of what you're eating. How often do we rush through a meal and we're like, shit, what did I even eat? I don't
Yeah.
remember.
It's like almost like sleep driving, how you got home just because you know the pattern of
Yep.
the route.
Remembering we
So
can turn off autopilot. So, yeah,
yeah, that's the
absolutely.
word I was just thinking of, autopilot for
Yep.
sure. Well, Danielle, as I said before, I could talk to you for hours, and I think you covered so many great topics with me today, and I can't say enough how much I appreciate your time. Where can everybody find you? What can we expect from the future? All that jazz.
Thank you. Thank you, Genevieve. I really enjoyed this as well. And thank you to everyone who was listening. Where can you find me? You can find me DanielleGertner.com. You can find me the Own Your Shit podcast on Spotify and Apple. You can find me on Instagram at Danielle Gertner, and I'm sure Genevieve will spell, my name will be listed somewhere. Um, and those are my main, or in Austin, Texas, if you happen to be in Austin. Um, what you can expect. Oh my God, so many things. More podcast episodes. We're on a little pause as we transition from season 1 to season 2, coming back bigger and better. But if you've never listened, highly recommend season 1, 20 episodes. It's a lot of me owning my shit. I share a lot of just my life and my journey and how I reflect and process the things that happen to me as a human. You can expect a lot more educational content, which I'm very excited for. A lot more master classes, shorter challenges and courses and things like that, and a whole lot of sass, always and forever. Always coming with the
Awesome.
sass.
You have to. You can't just be plain Jane.
Yep, exactly.
Well, thank you so much for your time. And like Danielle said, I'll link everybody over to our website, over to Instagram. All our information will be listed in the article below. So make sure you reach out to Danielle if you have any questions, and we will be talking to you soon.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you.